and welcome back to Once Upon a Page. Today we've gone through some of the comments and things we've gotten from our social media pages, questions that you guys have asked us about writing and our writing process. So just to start off, how often do you write and how long do you write?
That depends on if I'm on a deadline or not. If I'm on a deadline, then it's 24/7, it feels like. At least probably to my family. I try to write something though every day, just a little something, even if it's a few hundred words, just to keep things going. And what about you guys?
I am not a write every day of the year kind of girl. I know a lot of people say that you need to do that if you're going to be a writer, but I feel like if I don't have anything important to write, it's just a waste of my time to write something that I'm just going to throw away. When I first started writing, basically I just wrote during NaNoWriMo during November. In the last year or two, I've actually started writing a little bit more, and this year I'm going to write at least 2 books and then have at least 2 books edited, hopefully by the end of the year. So that's my goal, is at least 2 books a year. It takes me about a month to a month and a half to write the whole book, and then probably several months to edit. No, but my books aren't quite as long.
We're leaving now.
I'm like, because it takes me a while just to get everything kind of plotted and my ideas.
Okay, well I've been plotting.
A little bit of a plotter.
I've been thinking about this, a book since last year, and so it's been in my head, it's been percolating. I've got all the ideas there now, and so it's just easier for me to just sit down and do it all at once, instead of like spreading it out over several months, and just get it out of my head. I get very emotional when I write because I take on the emotions of all my characters too, and I feel like my family needs me to not be like that for most of the year.
I understand that.
Not have split personalities, so I try to do it, within a month. So just
I'm kind of in all of writing it all in a month. That's kind of like, it's a little overwhelming for me.
I felt like I had to almost do that with my 3rd book in my series, because my deadline to have it in was a whole lot sooner than I thought. So I had 30,000 words left to write. During my busy, I direct a youth camp, so during my busy youth camp and helping take care of my grandmother who has dementia while my mom and dad were on a mission trip. And so all this fell in 1 month while I was trying to come up with the last 30,000 words.
bad.
And so I did feel like in that I shoved a whole book into the month. Mine tends to take a little longer to write. I'm standing in awe as well. I would love to say I write every day. And there are times when I write every day, like for a couple weeks I'll write every day, but then I'll take a break, or like I said, helping take care of my grandmother through the day. There are days I get home and all I can do is go, okay, put in a DVD and watch a video because my brain is mush.
Yes.
So I try not to beat myself up. Yes.
Okay, well, yes. I try to write my blog more often than just 1 month a year.
Your readers, thank you for that.
Yes. The 7 people who read my blog.
Oh, come on.
And so I do try to. Now, how long I write at a time, it can vary. I mean, I try not to sit down if I have less than an hour, because that's barely enough time to get into what I'm writing before I have to turn around and go do something else.
Yes.
But if I have an evening where I can do it, I send everybody off, and so I get at least 2-3 hours in at a time when I try to. So
That's good.
I'm in this new place where all of my kiddos are in school.
Oh,
now.
nice.
And so I'm at home, and
Yes.
so I'm trying to navigate, I guess, training myself in a way to write while they're at school. But then since I write at home, everything at home kind of pulls my attention to other things. There's always dishes to wash and laundry to fold and stuff to pick up. And so I'm trying to get to where I sit down and just focus on my writing while they're at school, so that way when they come home we can hit the homework and dinner and bedtime and all that fun stuff.
Do you have a special place that you write to kind of help get these other things out of your mind?
I'm working on that. Right now, my computer is in my living room. And I also have a little special nook I set up in my bedroom, so that way if the kids are doing stuff, then I can kind of go in there. I don't want to, I always feel like I'm like, hey, be quiet, and I don't want to be like that. So I'm trying to find different areas to write. And when my son was going to St. Jude every week, I wrote a lot in the car. So I learned how to, to write as we travel. So, but I would love to have like one of those like,
a she shed.
Yes,
She wants a she
yes,
shed.
I do. I really want one because I want to put bookcases in there, and for each of my book launches, I ordered like one of those photo backdrop banners.
And they're amazing.
They're so pretty.
Yes,
they are.
And so what I want to do is I want to have my own little space where I can hang those up in there and everything. So what about
See, I
you
don't
guys?
think I could do that with mine. I would feel like, that would,
Walk into the room and be like, who's living in me?
I love my cover,
Yeah, they're
just not that
Not that
size
big.
staring
That's
at
so
me.
funny because I did I was at a craft show not long ago, and I took my banner and I hung it up, and people were walking by, and this one lady went, and I was like, it's not scary. It's not scary. What about you, Amy? Do you have a special place to write?
I have a chair.
A chair?
I have a chair.
There you
And
Is
go.
it a
has-
comfortable chair at least?
It is a fairly comfortable chair. It rocks, so that's nice. And then I have
Yeah.
like a footstool in front of it. And then I have my stacks beside me of like all the papers and receipts and important things and not important things and sell ads and
Do you not fall asleep? Because I tried sitting
Mm-mm.
on a comfortable chair or couch or something and
Not
prop
that
up.
comfortable.
I just I start to fall
No,
asleep.
I
can't
don't-
do it.
I don't fall asleep, and I get in this mindset. I say, okay, get the kids down for a nap, do my Bible reading, work, and like I've gotten into this habit of doing that every day, and it really does help keep you focused to just go in saying, okay, this is the time I can work. And yes, dishes
Yeah.
and stuff distract me, and
Yes.
my living room is usually a mess, and it's in my living room. But I just have to like block all of that out or work on it in the morning when the kids are awake and can go
Do your
behind
kids
me.
take a long nap? Because you said
I
you
know.
hammer
Okay,
out
so-
2,000 words. I'm like, there's no way.
So up till this year, my kids usually I put them down around 12:30, and they don't get up until after 3.
Wow, you have sleepers.
They are starting to fight nap a little more, but if I can keep it going until my daughter starts kindergarten next year, and then my son 2 years after that. So
Yeah.
I have that goal in mind of
Uh-huh.
having my kids in school where I can just have writing time.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, that's gonna be amazing.
Now I will tell you, the day will come
Yes,
when you have your space.
yes.
Because a year ago, my oldest son moved out and left his room empty. By the evening of his wedding day, it had been claimed. All my things moved in.
Yeah,
I've got the
very nice.
bookshelves. I've got the comfortable chair with the footstool in front of it that I have a desk, but I don't write there. Big window. I've got the chair angled just right so
Oh,
I can look out
nice.
the big window on
Yes.
the field and woods in our backyard,
Nice.
and just really enjoyed. I've got dry erase boards like
Mm.
all around the room.
That's my
Um,
next goal.
I'm not a plotter, but I have found as I'm writing, okay, there are things that I have to keep track of.
Mhm.
So
Characters.
for
Especially
me,
if you're doing a series, you
Oh, yeah.
have to keep track
Oh,
of
yeah.
that stuff.
and they say, oh, get note cards and blah, blah. Well, then I have to search through note cards.
Yeah.
This way I've got these dry erase boards on like every wall. And I can use different colors for different people. I can get it as
That's
fancy or as not fancy as I want it. And all I have to do is go, okay, when was her birth date again?
Mhm.
Okay, it's October 12th. you
Yeah.
know, things like that. So the day is coming. And when my other son moved out, I wanted to knock out that wall and make a really big one. But my husband decided he had to have an office too.
Oh,
So
man.
I had to bypass. I have a small one. But it is a nice one and it is mine.
That's awesome.
And it even has a plaque on the door that says Mom's office, so
Oh,
they know not to bother
nice.
me when
Yeah.
I'm in Mom's office.
Nice.
That's cool. Now I like the marker board. I just started using that with my third book, and it was just like it unlocked my brain. It seemed like it, I'm not a huge plotter. I'm kind of the in between the plotter and the pantser. I'm like a tweener, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
It's called a plantser.
Okay, yeah. And so while I have a general idea of where everything's going, I like to let the characters take over. And so, and you guys are making fun of me in between videos because I like to make lists. They were like really, really making fun of me. And so,
see our lists?
Yes, I know. I can't help it because I like to write things down. But if I used a notebook or note cards or anything like that, I never could get my ideas going very well because if I messed up on the page, then that was like, I don't like to mark things out. But the marker board, I can write out whatever I want and I can erase it and I can put, it's really helped me.
Well, and I'll tell you, as
And
far
I
as
take pictures on my phone before I erase. That way I have to look back at it. She's really laughing. She's trying hard not to laugh at me.
I understand that part though. And honestly, one of the things that I found that helped me a lot with the business aspect of it, like remembering when am I supposed to be on a blog, when am I supposed to be doing
That's
this
a
or
good
that or
idea.
whatever, behind my chair where I don't see it all the time unless I turn around, I have 4 large dry erase boards that are calendars.
No.
And
good
so I can
idea.
have an entire quarter
Love that.
mapped out behind me. And again, I can use red for when I'm on somebody else's blog, blue when they're on my blog, things like that. When I have writers' conferences, deadlines, and anything that I have to keep track of like that in my own personal side of the writing and everything. But what kind of tips and tricks do you guys have for getting over, say, writer's block, or for dealing with the upheaval that comes with having small children and trying to write at the same time and manage everything?
My biggest thing is I can't stop on a blank page or at the end of a chapter. So when I go to sit back down the next time, if it's blank, my mind just goes blank. So for me, I have to continue on a little bit more than what maybe I normally would. So that way, the next time I sit down, there's like a couple paragraphs there.
Oh, nice.
So that way, I at least know where I am in the story and what I was writing the previous time. So that really helps me. What about you, Amy?
I like to write in order. So, there's always that chapter in the book that isn't as interesting. Like, there's not as much conflict or whatever, but you still need it to show the character development or to make it make sense that they went from here to here. You have to have the transition, and it's just not as much fun. And that's usually where I'll get anything like writer's block. But it just helps me to say, well, I've got this really fun chapter coming up, here. So I just have to get through this one, and then I can do that one that I'm going to enjoy more, So that's probably my biggest trick.
My husband is always like, well, why don't you just skip that chapter and write,
Because then you're
and
never
I'm
going to
like-
want to go back and
I'm
write
like,
it.
I can't. I'm kind of like you. Once I'm going, I like to kind of go in order. And he always laughs at me. He's like, I don't understand why you can't just jump ahead and go back.
I
And I'm
actually
like,
did that with Faith's Journey. Like, I had a song inspired a scene, which I then later had to take out, but it inspired a scene that I really, really just was excited about. And so I skipped ahead to the last third of the book, wrote the last third of the book on, then went back to where I had finished the first third and did the middle afterwards. But not my usual method for writing. But now I did have, and I don't know if either of you guys have done this, when my kids were little and I first started trying to write, I would go in my room and shut the door, but I had 3 rowdy boys.
Right.
So, they're having Nerf gun wars like in the living room. And so you have cats going, because, they just got shot with the Nerf gun. Things like that. We play in our house. It's well lived in. And that would be distracting for me. So I actually started finding, at that time I was writing a nature devotional for kids, and there was a Finding Neverland soundtrack. I like the movie, and the music to it is really good, so I would play it and write to it. And it helped me with the flow, actually, as well as blocking out the noise. And then, like Faith's Journey, there was a certain tone And so that's the kind of music I listened to while I was writing with Grasping Hope. It was a completely different tone. So it was different music that I listened to the entire time I was writing. I mean, yes, I do have full CDs memorized now at this point, but because it does take me longer than a month to get it done. But every time I write, I'm finding if I can get music that sets the tone that I'm looking for, it helps me to block out the noise, but also to keep that tone in my writing.
My husband bought me the noise canceling headphones, and so for my third book, I just wore those every time I wrote. It's nice. It helps.
Did it really block everything out?
It did.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
I may have to get those
It
for
was really
everyday
nice.
life.
My kids would be like, "Mom," and I'm like, just typing away, you know. They'd have to come up and tap me on the shoulder, and then I would freak out. But yeah, I mean, it really did help.
That's cool. Well, we hope that you enjoyed hearing some of our writer life and some of the tips and tricks that we've learned over the last couple of years as we've started our own writing journey. And if you have any questions that you would like to, like us to answer in future days, we'd love for you to post them in the comments, and we will definitely try and answer any that we can.
And if you're a writer, include tips and
Yeah,
tricks
give
in the
us your own
comments.
tips and
Yes.
tricks.
That'd be great.
And don't forget your UN20 videos.
Yes.
If you would like to introduce yourself and where you're from and do a little 20-second video of a clean or Christian fiction book that you're reading and enjoying, you can send it to us at the email in the video description, and we may choose to use it at the end of our next video.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.
Bye.